I get it. It's really weird when a new random character or characters show up from a strange place that has absolutely no place in the Dragon Ball franchise and is suddenly more powerful than all the cast we know and love. And why? Because their biology is different? Wait. You thought I was talking about Caulifla. Hey everyone, Under here, and today I'm here to discuss Caulifla's impact on the Dragon Ball franchise. Many hardcore Dragon Ball Z fans absolutely hate Caulifla and think that she's somehow tarnished all the hard work Goku, Vegeta, and even Gohan went through to get to where they are today. Well, I'm here to... Oh man. Anyway, in the opening, I was actually describing Saiyans, Namekian fusions, androids, and reincarnated demon boys. Well, to be fair, androids have always had a deep root in the Dragon Ball universe, but you get my point. As someone who grew up with Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z, seeing characters like Yamcha, Krillin, Chiaotzu, Tien Shinhan, they arrive and they were fun, right? They show up, they're good characters, they're strong, they're a threat to the main cast, but in the end, everybody evens out. We got to know these characters, and of course, we like these characters. I know a lot of people who start watching Dragon Ball Z kind of just see these guys as base characters, right? They don't really have story arcs. But Dragon Ball, they had story arcs. They were established as actual characters to us. In the same way, people who watch Dragon Ball Z first have gotten to know Vegeta as he was introduced, and he gradually changed and matured and became more powerful and became a proper rival to Goku. People who watch Dragon Ball could say the same thing about Yamcha, Krillin, not so much Chiaotzu. He was just kind of there to be like a little punk for a little bit. Believe it or not, he was a bit of a punk. And Ten Shinhan, of course. And then Piccolo. And, even Piccolo Jr. was eventually put into the same ballpark as Ten Shinhan when the Saiyan saga began. I mean, none of these characters were ever OP that they forever made any of the remaining cast irrelevant. And while none of the humans ever actually caught up to Piccolo, it wasn't until the insane, stupid power-scaling nonsense of the Frieza saga that Piccolo felt out of reach for the rest of the Dragon Ball cast. But let's go back. Then came Z. Of course, in the manga, there was no break apart from the time skip, but that was something that had already happened a few times in Dragon Ball. A rather significant one had actually just occurred before Z. Z introduced the concept that Goku was an alien, and this alien race was very violent and powerful by nature, and we already knew that Goku was different than a normal human, and though this was an amazing twist, it wasn't really much of a shock. Heck, Piccolo and Kame, look at them. Oh, sorry, Kami, not Kame. Ugh. Piccolo and Kami looked like not-so-little green men from outer space to begin with. But with it came the idea that not all characters are created equal. We later see that Goten and Trunks are born with something of an MMO newcomer deal, Like, where when you sign up and, they instantly max out your character's level just so you can join the fray of the endgame content. Well, they join the fray, and before they even fight their first real fight in the series, they've attained Super Saiyan status. Okay, I've gone off on a tangent, but you kind of see my point, right? This is normal for Dragon Ball. Characters like Ten Shinhan who train every day, all day, every day, and they're left behind, despite putting in just as much work as Goku and Vegeta. Piccolo is another great example, but at least, even though he's in the exact same boat, he had like 1,000 little MacGuffins to save the day, like, oh, I'm horribly outclassed, I better eat one of my brethren. He can absorb other Namekians, and just become on par with everybody else. I don't know. And now that we actually get to Caulifla, like the actual point of this, whom we've known was different from the Universe 7 Saiyans since before she was even introduced. The Saiyans from Universe 6 have evolved past the point of even needing their tails. You don't simply remove a positive trait unless it's something you no longer need. These Saiyans are strong enough to thrive without the need of those Zaru forms. I already did a whole video on the Universe 6 Saiyan biology, so I won't delve super deep into it here, though knowing me, I'll go on a tangent, and I will. But what I'm saying here is that this isn't the same kind of bullcrap jump in power like we saw in Z. where suddenly Saiyans get all these multipliers. Namekians just eat each other and get a power boost that is somehow beyond the power of the two Namekians combined. A demon gets reincarnated into a human who is born with that demon's potential and suddenly is like the most powerful character ever, and Goku wants to train with him. I mean, what? It makes sense so long as you don't ignore the other things. Like, you can't just say Caulifla makes no sense, her power scaling is ridiculous, when we have all these little MacGuffins here and there. Namekians can suddenly get more than the power of the two Namekians combined just by absorbing one another, or a human being, can be wished, as a reincarnated form of Boo. So now we have a human simply born with the potential. It's one thing to, not like any of it, but it's another thing to like all the stuff that happened to Z and then suddenly have an issue with Caulifla. At least with Caulifla and the Universe 6 Saiyans, we had fair warning, and it actually does make sense. I mean, of all the Saiyans in Universe 7's history, how many have actually gone Super Saiyan? Okay? Now, how many of the current Universe 7 Saiyans have gone Super Saiyan? Yeah, that's actually bull, and you should be whining about that. The idea that 0.0000001% of the Saiyans from Universe 6 can go Super Saiyan, while 62% of the Saiyans in Universe 7 can, doesn't exactly seem all that overpowered. I mean, look, and if you don't even count the infants, which I was, from Universe 7, Pan and Buddha, then that percentage goes up to 83%. And that leaves only Tarble as the outlying Saiyan here who can't go Super Saiyan. And this is a character that only recently managed to become canon. He was just not even a movie character. He was a freaking special. Yo, Son Goku and his friends return. Was just like a little special, like, hey, guys, you still like Dragon Ball? Here's the thing. Yay, there's another Saiyan. His name is Tarble. Get it? Vegetarble? Yeah, I mean, him and the two babies are the only two who have not gone Super Saiyan. Alright? That's 100... If you don't count Tarble, who is basically filler, and the two babies, that's 100% of all the remaining Saiyans in Universe 7 can go Super Saiyan, versus 0.0000001%, probably more than that, of the Universe 6 Saiyans can. Okay? I mean, and those are supposed to be the two highest potential Saiyans. I mean, freaking Champa picked Kaba for a reason. He picked him because he was known to be probably the most powerful Saiyan. He didn't quite get his information right, though, because Kaba believed that Renso was more powerful than him, but Renso's retired and old, and he's done fighting. But he says his little sister is more powerful than he ever was. So now we got the two most powerful right there. Kale is the biggest question mark here, because she kind of just got tagged along. It was pure luck for them that they brought along, or they knew Kale could go into this weird Super Saiyan Green Berserker mode. So I'm just going to leave her out of the equation for now. But the idea that they handpicked two Saiyans to be the strongest of the more evolved ones, and they just happen to be able to go Super Saiyan, I mean, come on, it's not that crazy. So, yeah, the idea that among an entire race of more highly evolved Saiyans, the two strongest among them could turn Super Saiyan isn't a big deal when nearly every primitive Saiyan in Universe 7 can do it. And while we're talking about Universe 6 Saiyans, let's also talk about two other factors. First, Universe 6 Saiyans are more emotionally developed than their Universe 7 counterparts. They're more human in nature. They laugh, cry, enjoy one another's company, and live for something more than just fighting and power. Now, that instinct is still intact. I mean, it's there. Caulifla is, in a lot of ways, is like a hybrid between Goku and Vegeta when it comes to it. She has Goku's childlike wonder at her own potential, and Vegeta's brash, give me the power now mentality, right? But coupled with this, she has a more complicated emotional spectrum than Goku and Vegeta have. And in case you forgot, it's emotion that is the key to a Saiyan's power. Gohan's rage boosts, Goku's original transformation into Super Saiyan when Krillin got exploded in it, Vegeta's undying passion to surpass Goku, leading to his Super Saiyanhood, Kaba's belief that Vegeta was going to destroy his entire race, and Kale's feelings of inadequacies coupled with her jealousy when it comes to Caulifla's attention. It's emotion that controls the Saiyan's power, and this is, of course, something I've gone over in my previous video, But let's also just take a somewhat sexist look at the Universe 6 Saiyans. And I apologize for this, but it is the way they're being written, and there is some truth to the concept. Of course, the 4 Saiyans we've seen from this universe, we've seen 2 boys and 2 girls. Kaba and Renzo, the guys, both of these characters are very pragmatic in nature. They come about as a matter of fact, or I can or can't do this. I mean, they really don't have a lot of passion to them, like Saiyans typically do. But now if we look at the women, Caulifla and Kale, now remember, this is a very small serving size for both of these. Again, this race is astronomically huge in Universe 6, so it's a little different than comparing them to Universe 7. This is a very small sample of the actual population. But the women, Caulifla and Kale, they are far more emotional in comparison. Caulifla is known to fly off the handle, and Kale is completely controlled by her emotions, to the point where she can't even speak for herself without being prodded from Caulifla. I would argue that there is absolutely no reason why Caulifla and Kale shouldn't have more potential than all the Universe 7 Saiyans. And in fact, Caulifla is exactly where she should be in regards to her power. I mean, if you really don't like it, if you hate the idea that she's as powerful or has as much potential as she has, then you shouldn't like any of the insane power scaling that happened in the Frieza saga either. The resentment you're feeling is the same thing as us Dragon Ball fans felt and been complaining about since Dragon Ball Z started. It's just the nature of the series, and there's no reason to believe stuff like this will not stop happening. Goku will find a way to overcome it. Vegeta too, most likely. He's become the second main character. But characters will continually be introduced that have a massive advantage on the majority of the cast. It's just the way it is, and at this point in Dragon Ball's long history, it shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. So yeah, I'm just really annoyed by all the people who think Caulifla is somehow ruining Super, or Super's bad because Caulifla shows up and has a ton of power. This is stuff we should have known was going to happen, stuff that they alluded to, stuff that they've actually backed up with lore. None of this stuff doesn't make sense. So, I'm choosing to look at Caulifla and Kale and Kaba as what the Saiyans should have been. A good mix between human and Saiyan. The thing that makes Gohan so powerful, the thing that makes Gohan a lot of people's favorite character because he's so hardcore, but he's still human in a way. You know? This is exactly what Gohan fans should be loving. I mean, yeah, you love the character, and I love Gohan too. He's an amazing character. But he is kind of like the poster boy for what the Universe 6 Saiyans are, and why they have so much power, and we shouldn't be fighting it. In fact, if you look at the characters, Caulifla is a character we have not seen in Dragon Ball, like, ever. She is a female fighter like 18, but she's not cold. She has the Saiyan traits, but she has them to the point where she doesn't hide them. Goku is just a dullard. I mean, he's great when it comes to fighting smarts, but he doesn't think. He puts everybody's life at risk just to have a better fight. Caulifla has that mentality, but she also has the human self-control that Goku doesn't have. She knows when to turn on and off her happy side, but she can be tough, like Vegeta. But unlike Vegeta, she doesn't have a problem showing her soft side, her happy side. She talks to Kale like she would a character who needs love and attention. She's supportive of other characters, something Vegeta's only recently dabbled in. Caulifla is the complete character. She is the best of the humans, the best of the Saiyans, even though she's not human at all. She has traits of both, and she's showing them off in proper form. It's amazing. And she's become one of my favorite characters. I mean, I have very few favorite characters. It takes a lot for a new character to show up and be like, wow, I really like this character. I mean, right now, Ten Shinhan has been my favorite character since its introduction in Dragon Ball. No other character has been like, wow, this character, man, I really relate to this character more than anybody else, or I think this character is really cool, or I love the lore potential of this character. It hasn't happened since Dragon Ball for me, and Caulifla is actually there. She is knocking on that door. And we know Ten Shinhan's not going to get any more attention, so if Caulifla becomes a primary character in the show, well, guess what? I might have me a new favorite character. It's crazy to think about. I've been watching Dragon Ball since the 80s. I was like 4 when I started watching. But guys, you get my point, right? I know this has been mostly a rant. The script I had kind of pieced together was like 6 minutes long in total, and it's over 14 minutes. I've gone on, and I apologize, but if you feel the same way I do about this, then you're probably appreciating some of this rant, I would hope. But in the end, I think Caulifla is a great character. I can't wait to see more Universe 6 Saiyans. I can't wait to take characters like Goten and Trunks, who I actually do really like. But their development has been so stunted and so bad. I mean, their development has been so stunted that they still haven't grown, okay? So, I'm pretty sure Trunks is older than future Trunks, right? Is he? He might be. I don't even know. But he should at least... I know Saiyans kind of like pop up when they hit their growth spurt somehow, but this is still ridiculous. Trunks should be taller than he is now. But my point here is these characters are so heavily stunted. Gohan's been stunted, though I do want to see him actually do something. It's just great to see Saiyans with actual potential show up that aren't Goku and Vegeta. So guys, thank you for listening to me ramble on. And I hope you tune in again for my next video. Regardless of this, I might ramble and rant again, but simply putting it the way I think, there's no reason to be hating on Caulifla. No reason to be hating on Kale unless you absolutely hate the idea of Broly. And I don't like Broly, but Kale was handled pretty well. But characters like Caulifla, she is actually going to breathe new life into the series. She's a female character who isn't weak, who isn't emotionless. In fact, I'm going back into a little bit of a tangent again. I apologize. It's supposed to be the outro. But if you look at 18, they actually took a moment in this very arc. And think it was the most recent episode at the time of recording this, where 17 points out the fact that, hey, 18, you're more gentle, you're kinder now. They actually had to develop 18 into a likable character. Not that she wasn't likable before, but if she was a one-trick pony in terms of personality, where she was nothing but angry and hateful and money-grubbing the entire time, I mean, she wouldn't even qualify as a worthy female character of the show. And being the only female fighter currently, it's great to have someone like Caulifla who is multifaceted, who has a 3D character, who has a lot of going on. So, yeah, guys, I'm done with ranting. I apologize. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time with my next discussion video. I'm not too sure which one's coming out next, but, yeah, it'll probably be more theory crafting. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you all later.